Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another video on Lousy Gamer, and happy Friday. So before I start, I want to have my first sip. This is brilliant. Okay, thanks again for tuning in and watching this video. And I would like to start with an apology. I have not been doing a lot of videos in the last few months actually. Got busy with real life and a bit traveling a bit, so please accept my apologies. And I would also like to thank you guys for hanging in there, and the subscriber count is now 2,700, so just 300 more to hit that magic 3K mark. So thanks again for your lovely support, and I really hope that you will continue to support me to hit that number. And I got kind of demotivated because of some changes YouTube did and so on, so I'm pretty sure you would have heard about it. Yeah, now I'm back again with some of the thoughts that I have. Again, it's my personal thoughts. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, sometimes it might make sense. Again, it's just a banter that I wanted to do using this channel. So you would have seen by now the topic. So I'm going to kind of talk about what happened to me in the game, and also I want to whine about some of the things that Ember can do and they should do to keep this game alive for the smaller alliances and the smaller players. So don't mistake me. I'm always taking side on the smaller players and smaller alliance, but you know, I think to make this game more enjoyable, I think the participation should also come from all parts of the alliance, so that would keep this game alive for much longer than it will be. So what happened to me? Yes, I almost got my ass handed to me a few weeks ago. So I play in region 31 now, so not playing a lot. So I kind of hit 10 billion a month ago, again with a mix of advanced troops and regular troops. And UN/RW, you know, they are ruthless, and they are, I think, one of the best that we have in games. Everybody knows that. If you kind of look at all the regions, you can see that in SIC, RW, UN, that's a massive alliance, bunch of alliances working together, and I mean, they're deadly. And then the next region would, the team would be the Rice group. So they are also equally strong and ruthless when it comes to attacking. And Legion, of course, so headed by Dorf, so he's doing excellent job in terms of helping the players as well in terms of game ideas and stuff. So yeah, coming back to the point, so UNRW visited our region, and obviously I was kind of busy, and I don't have a lot of these new fancy leaders, and their hit were really ruthless. Those are the reports that I'm going to share with you guys. So here you go. So these are the reports for you to watch, and I'll come back to you on after you watch these reports. I'm going to kind of touch this topic a little bit on how the game is changing, and what can be done by Ember to prevent this. I also saw some of the Rice hits as well, and Legion hits as well. Again, their hits are like crazy, 50 million off, 40 million off in one hit. So I don't have these reports, and again, if you guys have it, please send it to me. I'll showcase that in my channel in the next Friday Thoughts or other videos that I'll make. What I wanted to talk about is to Ember. If you remember, a few months ago, we talked about how there is always a big edge on defense or attack. So if you look at alliance operation and all these fancy leader period, defense was like the best. I mean, you could actually sit there and get hit, and you can wipe your opponent off on all the attacks. So the game was like so pro defense, and it was so hard for the attackers to even spend all that money on the advanced troop and go out and attack. So the game kind of slowed down a bit. And now what happened is that the attack is getting so much of an edge. I mean, I'm not saying attack or defense should not have an edge, but I think attack should always have an edge, because the attacker will be spending some money to get the advanced troops out on the line. So what I'm trying to say is the edge that the leaders are giving right now on the attack is way too off for the defense. So as I said, if you have this graph on the extreme in terms of having an edge with no the lower extreme, we always have this the gap that I always call between the attack and defense. Last time, if this is defense, it had an over edge compared to the attack, so the attackers always had to lose a lot. And now it's kind of tables have turned, so now attack has a lot of advantage versus defense. So there's always this gap that's going to be a bit hard to close. So what I would suggest is, maybe again, I'm not talking about the smaller alliance or alliance operations for the smaller teams, but even the bigger teams can get some good defensive leaders so that they can try to close the gap. So attack can still have that edge, but close the gap a bit so that it doesn't look that bad. So wiping off players faster would kind of kill the game quicker, right? So again, IC hitting will give them the advanced speed ups to rebuild, which is good. But I think the edge should be a bit lesser so that the gap is closed. Again, it's my view on this. Again, I might be wrong on how I see things, but if you guys think what I'm thinking is wrong, you can please leave your comments. So that's on that. And also the fancy leaders. Yes, the top teams totally deserve all these great leaders. I don't argue on that point, because these teams have put a lot of effort as a team to do all these alliance operations. They deserve to get all these big leaders, but at the same time, as you can see that during the alliance operation, you have a lot of these alliances across all the 3 main regions. A lot of smaller alliances are also trying to catch up, and they want to kind of get something out of it, and that something is not really substantial. So I do understand that they have to, it's more of a chasing game, so you got to get on top. But given that the edge the bigger teams already have, the middle and the lower teams have really less to contribute to these alliance operations. So my suggestion would be, going back to the one of the old suggestion, try to give some of these old fancy leaders to the mid-level alliance. Again, they have to work hard for this. I'm not saying you should give it away free or anything. They should definitely work hard to get this. Say for example, now you give top 50 or top 25 the best leaders, and then the next year you give something really lousy. So there maybe you can introduce probably a lower level ghost pool, so where you can actually a less effective ghost pool, where you can get say 50% of what ghost pool can do. So at least these guys can get an opportunity to attack and wipe some of the T-force, and also the defense leader. So these guys are predominantly defensive players, as you can see, because they constantly under the bubble, so they don't have an edge to go out and do it. Again, it's a war game, guys. You got to pull up your sock and you got to contribute more and play more and get all your active players together. I totally in favor of the bigger teams, because they put a lot of time and effort into this game. So but at the same time, to Ember, support them a little bit, so just show them the ropes, and probably they will be good to second tier to fight against all the bigger tiers. So the bigger tiers have some fight to put up against these guys. So again, the lower smaller alliances, again, I'm sorry, I mean, you got to do something to either try to come to the mid-level alliances or the top alliance. You got to grow, otherwise you got to die in the process. So a lot of work has to be done. So that's one of the suggestions that I have. So you got to take care of the mid-level alliances. When I say mid-level, I'm not talking about really small ones. I mean, even the 100 million plus, 200 million plus, they are kind of suffering a little bit in spite of everybody coming to alliance operation and contributing. On top of it, maybe you can have special packs with all these fancy leaders. Again, we don't want the top tier fancy leaders that you give for top 100 on the power event or the alliance operation. That one totally deserved by the bigger players in the bigger alliance. I mean, you should not take anything away from them. But the second level and third level, maybe you can give, as I said, an inferior ghost pool or all these good defensive leaders for a premium price. So maybe you should say that every 4 packs that they buy, they have a chance to actually 5th pack they can get some good epic leader where they it could be human leader or epic leader, infected leader that has half the capability or 60% the capability of the topmost leaders that they get from alliance operation and the top 100 from the power events. So that could actually open up a bit of a fight and more people can participate in this. So that's another way that you can give them this. And the same set of leaders, the inferior leaders, you can put in the Z store for a really high price, and that would encourage the middle level players to play more events and collect all the Z coins or any other coins that they can use to redeem their leaders. So that can also be another way to encourage the players to participate more. And I was also thinking of another thing again, the hitting the infected, right? So we talked about it. The mid-level players has to go out and attack infected and do a lot of these, but the problem is with all this attacking power that we have, it just wipes out the troops within like 1 or 2 hits, and the mid-level players are finding it hard, and most of the time they are under the bubble because you can actually see that people from various regions coming for a few days and then attacking all the players, and most of the time what happens is they attack the mid-level players. When I say mid-level players, anywhere between 500 to 5 billion. Again, 5 billion is nothing nowadays. So all these players are getting hit. So they are not really participating. And again, I'm not really rooting for the mid-level players. But again, the mid-level players have to play a bit smart. So there should be the way that you play this game in a way that you set up your bubbles. When a bubble is dropped, you go hit your ICs crazy. Again, there is a risk involved, otherwise the game will be too boring. But to Ember, maybe you should let all these players, at least maybe 1 billion and less players, give them an opportunity to hit ICs under the bubble. I mean, if this is too much of an ask, maybe you should let them hit the ICs during the infected IC hitting events. When they are under the bubble, they can still go out and attack. So that this way they don't have to break it, and they can still get some IC points for their alliance. So this can help. Again, you don't have to give anybody more than 1 billion or 2 billion because these players have to learn and learn to fight, and then also try to find the window of opportunity to go out and hit ICs for the team. But the lower level players, they want to contribute more, but they're always under the bubble because of all these reasons. So maybe that could something be of your interest, Ember, for you to explore. And another thing that I would like to propose is we have not done the cross-realm events. If you remember pre-merge days, it was kind of a big deal, but yet it was not. All the alliance members within the region, they were trying to put their names on the leaderboard, so that kind of encouraged more players to play. But the drawback of that during those days were within the region they had so much of fight, right? So if you think about it, the top 2 alliances were fighting, or top 5, they had a lot of fights. So even those cross realm was not really getting all these players together, or all these alliances together. But now things have settled down, and if you can see that each of these regions are now occupied by all these top players and the alliances who support these top alliances. So within the region there is not much of an action happening. Maybe 1 or 2 here and there where they have been rivals for a very long time. Yes, it does happen, but majority of the alliances are now collectively playing within the realm and fighting the other realms out. So the idea would be cross-realm event where you can get people from other realms to come in and play, and then the points can be calculated based on that, especially the war. So it's purely based on attacking and defending and losing troops. It's not, you should not put the power or building advance into this mix. Then it becomes boring. So this should be a purely war cross realm event, where you can say lock the regions for, like, 5 days prior to the event, so that they don't go around, and then now you lock these alliances and players within that region, and you can actually label them, and then they can go anywhere during the event time. For that event time, they can go back and forth and fight against each other, and then at the end of the event, the leaderboard comes out to say how much of points that they earn from each of the realm. So that would actually be an interesting event, in my opinion, that would help quite a lot of bigger players to enjoy, so that now they'll start to hit bigger players. Imagine a 30 billion hitting another 30 billion, or a bunch of 10 billion trying to hit a 50 billion. That's kind of cool, rather than a 30 billion sitting next to farms and attacking and stealing. So this could actually allow people to go and hit and take the resources that they want. So this could be, and also for a point and great prizes, so people would be more willing to do that and go across the region. So that's something that I wanted to kind of put across. And another idea that I have, maybe all the farm owners are going to kill me for this, but most of the games are now allowing farms, but the Ember wise, I was not really happy about all the episode that happened on banning the accounts for the farm owners. That's really not cool. So if you really want to make sure that the dealer's business has to be impacted on this, that's if your goal, that's your goal. You should not stop the farms, because I think the farming is one of the things that you got to close one eye and then let people do farming, so that they get the resources and keep this game alive. So you should definitely let the farms thrive, so that the players have an opportunity to play. At the same time, you got to make it a little bit challenging for them to collect the resources, right? So either you can put a cap on how much you can actually plunder at once. So if somebody has a 50 billion in their account, and if somebody has to plunder, they depending on the size of the account, if they are like 10 billion, their plunder limit should be 10 billion, so they shouldn't get more than that. And also for the farm owners, they have to log in every 24 hours to collect what they have gathered, so that way they don't have to hit on and on and on to clear the farms. So the problem is they build the farms and then it keeps collecting. So otherwise, what you got to do is they got to log into these farms and then hit the collect button, and then it goes into the bunker, and then people can clear. So that way what happens is it puts a bit of a caveat where the pure farm owners, they would actually have to log in and collect. That way it reduces the amount of time that they go back and forth and hitting all these farms that put a lot of pressure on your server. So this is currently happening in all of the other games. That would prevent people from selling resources and buying, but at the same time you got to let people own their farms. I mean, you cannot ban people for owning a farm. That is silly, because without owning a farm, it's going to be hard for players, and they would spend more money if you actually give them that opportunity, and they will build more farms. So that's another thing that I was thinking about. So yeah, that's, again, it's all about my opinion now. So I might be totally wrong, and it could be the bad comments that I've given to you guys, or my ideas. But again, open for discussion. So as usual, so any comments you have, please leave those comments in the comment section. And I would also like to give a shout out to all other YouTubers who are doing Empire Z videos, because you guys definitely are, I think you guys probably the pioneers in getting all these videos out. And so I would like to give a shout out to War Wanker, I think. So he has been doing a lot of these war videos, and I'm not sure which region is he from, so you should subscribe to his channel. I mean, these guys are actually doing more videos more often, so you should be able to catch. I'm pretty sure you guys are doing that, but again, if you have not, so I'm just giving that option out for you guys to follow them. So War Wanker is one, and Skunk Ape, so I've not seen his videos off late, but great guy. So his videos are like one of the best I've seen. So he does have a good story mode to tell you what he wanted to tell you. great tips, great war videos, and so on. And Vernex is also another person who is actually doing a lot of these videos. So I'm just looking at his channel right now. So the latest video was 1 week ago. So this is again, I think Vernex videos are kind of a little bit maybe biased towards rice, but if you wanted to see some zeroing videos, you can see that. But more informative videos that you wanted to see on tips, Skunk Ape and War Wanker kind of gives you that information for you. So again, there's plenty of players now doing all these videos and posting. Please do subscribe to their videos and make sure that you support them. The subscriber count is kind of low, and it's growing again. I'm not saying it's not that bad. So now a lot of these subscribers are now following them, and please do follow them and make sure that the YouTube community on Empire Z is growing. And that's it from me. I think I've whined enough today, and you guys have a fantastic weekend and stay safe. Next week I'll be doing some testing on some of the new leaders that just got out. So I got some contacts who would be able to help me with some of the testing. I'll be happy to do this and see the difference that it makes in terms of attack and defense. So again, have a good rest of the weekend, guys, and I'll meet you guys soon in another testing video, and see you. Bye bye.